Okay, but we'll do a short parsha now. So I don't know if you guys were following the. Even though, thank God, Israel has had a relatively mild case of coronavirus as things go, which is why we're allowed back to somewhat normal life. Look up in a second. One of the people who passed away over the course of this in Israel was Rabbi Eliyahu Bakshi Doron. Does anyone know who that is? Oh, come on, guys. He was the Sefirat Chief Rabbi of Israel from 1993 to 2003. So I'll share a short idea with him. So in OMER we have the Chagim, starting in Revi'i, including Sefirat HaOmer. Right, obviously between Pesach and Chag HaBikurim, right? Never Shavuot later it's called in Dvarim. We have the Chag. Now we know that in Pshat, Shavuot is never described per se as the day that we got the Torah. What is it described as? It's either the end of the 7-week period after Pesach, or it's 7 weeks from the Omer. It's the day that you bring the Shtei Alechem. It's Chag HaBikurim when you bring the Bikurim, right? The notion that it's the day that you bring, that we got the Torah, is based on, well, mostly Chazal calculating that the 6th or 7th of Sivan, it's Machloket and Chazal when we actually got the Torah, was about 49 days after Pesach. And we know that we got the Torah around then because 3 days before, right, the 3rd of Sivan is when we know they start getting ready, and then it's just a question of whether it's, 3 full days, whatever, etc. That combined with the fact that Shavuot is 7 units of 7 after Pesach, which is, where else do we have 7 units of 7? The Shemitah cycle, more specifically the Yovel cycle. That's 7 Shemitah, we have it, and there as well there's a mitzvah to count, which guys in my shir, you weren't there at that shir, not here, they're over there somewhere, I hope. The other time we have 7, a mitzvah to count is by Yovel, and there, the 50th year you have Bimshoch HaYovel. Well, sorry, you have the Yovel, and where do you have the phrase Bimshoch HaYovel? By Matan Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu says you can't go up on the mountain until Bimshoch HaYovel Mi'alu Bahar, that once the shofar is blown. So there's this 7 unit, the mitzvah of counting. Both of them end with a Yovel, which is part of how Chazal got to it. So that notion, even in Pshat, is pretty easy to justify, even if it never appears explicitly. What Rav Bakshi Doron suggests in his all his Dvarim, I think all of them are called Binyan Av. He has many Shuvot, and he also has on Moadim and on Parsha. But in his one of the Moadim on Sefirat HaOmer, what he suggests is that just like we have a mitzvah on Pesach, Chayav Adam Lerod et Atzmo Ki'ilu Yatzah Mitzrayim, he suggests that the point of Sefirat HaOmer is that just like you're chayav to see yourself as if you went out of Mitzrayim, that doesn't end at the end of Pesach. The Jews who were counting up towards Matan Torah in the time of the original Pesach and Shavuot, right, they would have been feeling that anticipation, and he argues that chiyuv that Chazal impose of seeing yourselves as if you have left Mitzrayim continues throughout the period of Sfira. And the point of counting is to get yourself in that headspace as if you're accepting the Torah. And really, that entire unit of 7 weeks is supposed to be one where you re-experience the extended experience of Yetziat Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim, Sefirat HaOmer, anticipating Shavuot, culminating in Shavuot. And this, I think, in many ways does work well with the notion that the Ramban suggests, which is that the period of Sefirat HaOmer is, in a certain sense, conceptually, right? What does the Ramban relatively famously say? That Sefirat HaOmer is the Chol HaMoed of Pesach Shavuot, because Pesach and Shavuot are really one extended conceptual unit, which you see both in terms of the history of the Jews leaving Mitzrayim and then getting the Torah 7 weeks later, counting between, which connects them, and also that in terms of the Karbanot, the first grain Karban, the Karban HaOmer that kicks off the new grain season, is on Pesach, the second day of Pesach. And what Karban do you bring to end sort of that unit of time? The Shtei Alechem, which is the special wheat korban, which is brought on Shavuot. And again, what Rabbi Bakshi Doron adds, which we should say is Ilui Nishmato, is this notion that once you have all those conceptual links, perhaps this chiyuv also of Chayav Adam L'Rodas Mokilu Yatzam Mitzrayim is actually supposed to be a 7-week experience where you see yourself not just going out of Mitzrayim, but reliving the entire experience up to and including Matan Torah at the end of Sefira. So that should be Lilu Shmato. I figured at some point we had to say some idea from him, and we haven't really had the opportunity.